Hello there and welcome to the video. Today the candidates ended and Jan Nepomniachtchi is going to play against Magnus Carlsen for the World Championship. Now there was also some, a little bit sad news, because Wang Hao after the last round he announced his retirement from professional chess. And he stated health reasons, some kind of problems with digestion or something like that. So he can't really be around, too stressful situations, and professional stress can be very stressful. And you could see during the tournament, the last part of the tournament, he didn't have stamina for the games, and especially the loss against Nepomniachtchi, which was actually quite critical to the outcome of the tournament. You could see that he was definitely not at his best. But he will hopefully, move on to other things, and I'm sure he will be involved with chess, with coaching, teaching, stuff like that. Such a strong player, he can give a lot to his countrymen and to chess. But I want to show you what I think is one of his best games, and a game that not a lot of people know about, and it deserves to be the idea that he uncorked in this game deserves to be in the chess books of the future. So this was played in 2014 against Viktor Bologan. This was played at the European Club Cup, fun tournament that I played many times. I even played against Bologan once at the European Club Cup. That's a different story. Viktor Bologan, very nice guy. Met him many times, and he's played in Iceland. Okay, so they play the Slout event: c4, c6, knight f3, d5, d4, knight f6. We have the main line, and Bologan takes on c4, and we have a4. Now, the main move here is to play bishop to f5. But Bologan goes with this line with e6. And the idea when you play e6 is to play a quick c5. And then you kind of transpose into a queen's gambit accepted, with the inclusion of this move a4 for white. So black argues that the weakening of the b4 square might count for something. But let's see how the game progressed. Bishop to e7. We had, an attempt by black to settle white with a isolated queen pawn, but rook d1 pins the pawn, and we can take it with a knight next move if we want. The move e5 has been played, but it's a little bit risky. Black is behind in development. I imagine we can take and then play knight b5, and it's probably nothing special. So black elected to castle. Wang Hao took with the knight, queen c7, and now he took on c6. And Bologan took with a pawn. Now this creates, a pawn island, but white can't really easily attack this weakness. So Bologan is going for dynamics, getting open files, stuff like that. And maybe he can put the bishop on b7 in some cases, but in the game it actually goes to d7. So rook d8 was played. We have a trade. e4. So white has some space advantage. He's pushed forward here on the queen side. Slightly more advanced pawns in the center, but nothing special is going on. I mean, white is very solid, but he can't really claim a really big edge. Queen f2. Some edge because of the space. Now it goes f4. e5 and f5, so grabbing some space on the king side. Knight to f6, queen f3. But again, black is very solid, and now he gets counterplay on the b file. Rook a2 is the selected move to protect the pawn. Bishop to b4. The pawn is under attack on a5, so he pushes it to a6. Alpha 0, maybe? Alpha 0 type push, which we mentioned in many videos. So these pawns can be useful, and Turns out it might have been in this game. So rook b1, the king goes to f2 and feels safe there with the rook covering the second rank. And we go on to have some trades, bishop to b5. Let's trade on f6. And now we can't flick in this one, threatening the rook because of, I guess, mate threats, which can escalate rather quickly. If you play g6, my queen comes in. Have to be careful. So g takes f6. And the trade on b5. Now, this doesn't look like much. Equal pawns. White is probably never going to mate. It takes a long time to get the rook over to the king side. And even if you do, I mean, black can do something as well. And if white is going to try to win, based on mostly on having, space advantage because of the more far advanced pawns. Once you start to try to attack something and try to make inroads in the position, your king is most likely going to suffer. Once you start attacking with the heavy pieces, once the queen gets in somewhere, it's going to be some perpetual patterns arriving. So what Wang Hao came up with here is absolutely brilliant. And this has to go on some kind of, top 5, top 10 list for the best king marches of all time. So now I think I kind of gave it away what he did. He played king to g3, rook b6 by Bologan, and king h4. Rook d6, maybe a small inaccuracy to concede the b file. King h5, queen b8. He has to be ready to check on f8. Otherwise the king becomes an attacking unit. It comes to h6 and we start attacking. So queen b8 is ready to come to f8. But now we can start to think about lines. And after h4, queen g8. White takes over the b file. And this king, it reminds me of the pattern one of the patterns I had in my pattern recognition series called Anand's king. There we had the king on the queen side. It can also be on the king side. And double pawns on the knight file and another pawn on the h file. And we mentioned that was a very good pattern for heavy piece endgames. And this is the same. The king, since it's going to be safe on h5, white is absolutely free in the battle to use his heavy pieces, slam them around, try to make inroads, and it's going to be black's king who's in trouble. And this is basically what decides the game. So rook d8 was played, rook b7, maybe g4 first was more accurate, but he fixes it now and plays g4, queen g7, and look at this, the king continues to be an attacking unit, g5, and the king is absolutely safe. There's no way to really attack this king. Takes. And black tried to open things up, but there's no opening. The king controls everything. Queen f6. Okay, now we're threatening mate, but queen e3, everything under control. Takes. King g8. Rook f7. And now we can start taking stuff pretty soon. Rook d7. The threat was to play rook g7, followed by queen h7 and mate on queen f7, queen h7 mate. So rook d7, queen f1. Trying to get the pawn on c4. Black defense. We take, and now the king wins a very important pawn. King takes h6. And from here we can simply sail it home, queen to f6. And next up we can just swap queens. Queen somewhere, queen f7, takes. And then we go for the buffet. We pick up the pawns and we queen and we win. So a brilliant concept that Wang Hao came up with in this game. It was a game that might have been heading for a draw, but shows you what kind of talent he has. He found this brilliant idea. Reminds you a little bit of knight short against Jan Timman. When short went for a walk, king h2, g3, and then walked the king to h6. So brilliant king march by Wang Hao. And I thought it was fitting that I would present this game, the day he retires. I think this is a game that more people deserve to know about. Brilliant idea. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Bye bye.